once the Palace of Westminster stood beside the River Thames, now stand the Houses of Parliament and Big Ben, revived and in full chime after his untoward indisposition of last year. And where once, only several hundred yards away, there stood the tilt yard, the cockpit and the tennis court of another royal palace in Whitehall, now stands Horse Guards Parade, the largest open space in London, and scene of what has been described as the most splendid military spectacle in the world. Troops of the Household Division here each year in midsummer honor the official birthday of their sovereign. She will ride from Buckingham Palace almost a mile along the Mall to take the salute at the eastern side of the parade ground, just here at the central arch of William Kent's Horse Guards building, completed some 217 years ago. It was just 30 years ago, in 1947, that the first birthday parade was held since the beginning of the Second World War 8 years before. And that was the first time that Princess Elizabeth, 21 years of age, in the uniform of Colonel of the Grenadier Guards, rode at her father's side. With King George VI, the Princess rode the King's brother, the Duke of Gloucester, and they were watched by Queen Mary, Queen Elizabeth, and Princess Margaret. The King's colour of the 2nd Battalion of the Coldstream Guards was being trooped. The Guards wore khaki battle dress. Since last they had paraded on Horse Guards, the Brigade of Guards had fought in continents far from home, with much distinction, with the loss of over 5,000 men. In 1951, the Queen represented her father, who was ill, and took the salute herself at the birthday parade. The colour that was trooped on that occasion was the King's colour of the 3rd Battalion, the Grenadier Guards, the regiment of which the Princess was the colonel. The colour was trooped through the ranks. And then, only the next year, 1952, 25 years ago exactly, it was as Queen and Colonel-in-Chief of all the Guards regiments that the slight figure rode from Buckingham Palace with her uncle. Her mother and sister, still in mourning for the late King, arrived at Horse Guards to watch the parade. Unchanged virtually in form and in season, in each new realm since the days of Queen Victoria. It was her birthday that set the time of year. It was the 24th of May. In 1952, only 5 guards were in parade instead of the usual 8. All but 3 battalions were serving overseas. The colour that was trooped was the Queen's colour of the 2nd Battalion, the Scots Guards. So, 25 years later, this morning, the Queen in her Silver Jubilee year will ride once again to Horse Guards to receive the loyal greetings of her Household Division. 8 guards already await in lines of scarlet. And away beyond St. James's Park, once a marshy expanse with a leper hospital dedicated to St. James, King Henry VIII drained the marsh and built a palace, St. James's Palace. And that is the building which was succeeded as a royal residence on a Saturday morning 215 years ago, when George III and his large family moved into Buckingham House, as it then was. Her Majesty the Queen, the uniform of Colonel-in-Chief of the Scots Guards, accompanied by the Duke of Edinburgh and the Prince of Wales. His Royal Highness the Duke of Kent moves from the centre gateway of Buckingham Palace. Once more, the palace surrounded by crowds, as it has been on so many occasions during this week. Sovereign's escort of the Light Guards. At the other end of the Mall, at Horse Guards, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, arrives between numbers 3 and 4 guards and is greeted by a royal salute. Queen Mother once again with Princess Margaret and with Prince Edward. And the barouche moves through the central archway, where she will watch the parade with other members of the royal family who've already arrived. This famous Venetian window lights quite a small room, the office of the Major General commanding the Household Division, who was also the General Officer commanding London District. When there was no War Office, this was the office of the Commander-in-Chief for 10 years, 1842 to 1852, the Duke of Wellington. The oval table, still there, was his. The 8 guards will shortly reform, where they have been parted to let the carriage procession of the Queen Mother move through. The escort for the colour and number 2 guard is found by the 1st Battalion of the Scots Guards, founded in the reign of Charles I, reformed on the restoration of the monarchy in 1660. Named by Queen Victoria, the Scots Guards exactly 100 years ago. No plume in the bearskin, because they are centre of the line. The collar badge is a thistle, and the buttons on the scarlet tunics and on the cuffs are in 3s, as this is the 3rd Regiment of Foot Guards. And the regimental badge of the Scots Guards is the star of the most ancient and most noble order of the Thistle. Number 3 and 4 guards are found by the 1st or Grenadier Regiment of Foot Guards. Numbers 5 and 6 guards on the corner are found by the 2nd Battalion in the same regiment. Formed in 1656 as a bodyguard of Charles II in exile. They wear a white plume to the left, as right of the line among guards regiments. Grenade is the collar badge. Buttons are regular on tunic and on cuffs. And the regimental badge of the Grenadier Guards is the Royal Cipher ER, reversed and interlaced, surrounded by the garter and surmounted by an imperial crown. 7 and 8 guards are found by the 1st Battalion Coldstream Guards. They formed a part of Britain's first regular fighting force, Cromwell's new model army. Later they became King's Men, part of the Sovereign's personal bodyguard. They wear a red plume to the right of the bearskin, a garter star on the collar, a rose on the epaulet. Their buttons are in 2s, as the 2nd Guards Regiment, and also, of course, the buttons on the cuffs, though their motto proclaims them second to none. And their regimental badge is the star of the garter. In front of number 7 guard, the new Queen's colour of the 1st Battalion in the Scots Guards, presented to the battalion on the 20th of April of this year at Buckingham Palace. The colour held by Sergeant Leyden who, like the right escort sentry, Guardsman Carter, is a free-fall parachutist. The left sentry is Guardsman Davis, who's 18 and has already seen service in Northern Ireland and Germany. To the south of the parade, the massed bands of all 5 regiments of Foot Guards. That is, the 3 regiments on parade and the Irish and Welsh Guards. Also the Corps of Drums of the 3 battalions of Grenadier and Coldstream on parade, and the pipes and drums of the 1st and 2nd Battalion Scots Guards and 1st Battalion Irish Guards. Mass bands whose music is such a memorable part of this parade under the direction of Major Ridings, Director of Music, Coldstream Guards, since January, Senior Director of Music in the Guards Division. Commanding the parade on horseback, the field officer in brigade waiting. He is Lieutenant Colonel Mark Carnegie Brown, commanding officer of the 1st Battalion, the Scots Guards, since last September. Served with the Guards Independent Parachute Company, which he commanded in Cyprus, Malaya, Denmark, Turkey and Sharjah. He's 40 and riding Iolandi, chestnut mare. It's his first Queen's Birthday Parade. So the scene is all set here on Horse Guards Parade. And we await the arrival of the royal procession along the Mall, led by the Brigade Major of the Household Division, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Guthrie, Welsh Guards, and 4 troopers of the Life Guards. Then there's an interval of 50 yards before we come to the massed mounted bands of the Household Cavalry in their splendid state dress. Musicians chosen from both the Life Guards and the Blues and Royals. The Mall lined by members of the Foot Guards. Horse Guards on Trooping the Colour morning is always a crowded place, but the crowds along the Mall and over there, as you can see in St. James's Park, seem thicker than ever. In fact, people were camping out last night. People from all over the world here to see this very British spectacle. Formal occasion for some, an informal occasion for others. Commonwealth Prime Ministers and heads of government are also here, and many other distinguished guests, awaiting the arrival in some 6 minutes of Her Majesty the Queen at Horse Guards. It takes 15 minutes for her procession to walk along the Mall. The Duke of York in the background there on his high granite column. He was used to 10,000 men marching up and down. There will be over 1,000 men on parade here today. There he is, a statue paid for by stopping the pay of soldiers in the British Army for one day. Is the splendid, exciting scene, full of anticipation as we await the arrival of the Queen. And where else do you hear a massed band of 350 musicians at the front, the state dress of the drum majors, gold, black velvet caps, white gaiters, and at the front of the gold state dress, that marvellous gold-fringed crimson apron. The senior drum major Wigan of the Coldstream Guards, joined the army as a drummer boy 21 years ago. He now trains young drummers at the Guards Depot. The sign to all here that Her Majesty the Queen is approaching. as the brigade major, who is the person most responsible for the organization of this parade each year. And this will be Lieutenant Colonel Guthrie's last birthday parade before he goes to take command of a battalion of his regiment in Berlin. First and second divisions of the Sovereign's escort found by the Life Guards. Her Majesty the Queen, on her left the Earl Mountbatten of Burma, her personal aide-de-camp, Colonel of the Life Guards. She's wearing the sash of the Thistle, no doubt to honor the Scots Guards whose colour is being trooped today. Her Majesty, who is an expert horsewoman, but she rehearses all through the week preceding this parade to ride side saddle, which is not an easy thing to do. A splendid sight of the massed mounted bands. With these splendid drums of solid silver, priceless. Flying along St. James's Park. These men have been up since the early hours of the morning, since 6 o'clock, to groom their horses. And you can see the result here on these shining black horses. The Queen riding Burmese, a 15-year-old black mare, the gift of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and has carried Her Majesty since 1969 on this parade. This is, of course, a parade and not an entertainment, as people are always pointing out to us, but nothing can stop people expressing their warm affection for the Queen in her Silver Jubilee year. The Queen rides behind number 7 and 8 guards to the eastern side of the parade ground and approaches the central arch. Prince of Wales and the 2 royal dukes, the Duke of Edinburgh and the Duke of Kent, behind her. She now approaches the central window from which Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, looks down. And the Queen's first act on this parade will be to salute her mother. And there's the perfect royal timing. 11 o'clock strikes from the old clock tower above as the Queen turns. And when she and members of a mission of her procession are in position, she will be greeted by the first royal salute of the parade. the brigade major and 4 troopers of the Life Guards move up, leading Her Majesty, the Queen, and members of the royal procession on the first part of this birthday parade, the inspection of the line. Mass bands play a medley of old Scottish songs. Immediately behind her there, Prince Philip, who's been Colonel of the Grenadier Guards since March 1975, after 22 years as Colonel of the Welsh Guards. Prince of Wales is Colonel of the Welsh Guards since St. David's Day, 1st of March 1975. And the Duke of Kent is Colonel of the Scots Guards, the regiment who are trooping here. Major Richard McFarlane of the Coldstream Guards, having served overseas for some years, is with me once again, and he's taken part in this parade many times, and now he perhaps views it with fresh eyes.
Well, the parade changes very little, and for any guardsman this is always an important day. Each parade has its own definite and very special individual character. The inspection is the first of 5 main parts that make up the parade. After the inspection comes the troop by the mass bands, which is a splendid marching and musical display in slow and then quick time. Then the third part of the parade is the actual ceremony of trooping the colour through the ranks, the ceremony from which the parade takes its name. This is followed by the march past in slow and quick time by the foot guards, and finally, the 5th part of the parade, the rank past by the household cavalry at the walk and the trot. Just approaching the corner that is the junction between 5 and 6 guards, found today by the 2nd Battalion Grenadier Guards. Then on to number 7 and 8 guards, found by the 1st Battalion Coldstream Guards, stationed in the royal town of Windsor. Her Majesty will salute the colour to her right. Corner of number 8 guard. You see following behind her on the left, the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince of Wales, Duke of Kent, and Lord Mountbatten. Now followed by, on the left, the Master of Horse, the Duke of Beaufort, and on the right, the Gold Stick in Waiting, Field Marshal Sir Gerald Temple. And they're followed by the Crown Equerry and the Equerries in Waiting. Then on the greys, the Colonel of the Coldstream Guards on the left, and the Colonel of the Irish Guards on the right. And then Major General John Swinton, the Major General commanding the Household Division, and all the troops on parade today. And then the Silver Stick in Waiting, and on the left, the Chief of Staff, London District, and the ADC to the Major General, Captain Balfour. Is now moving in rear of the line of guards to start her inspection of the Household Cavalry, who are lined up in the rear of the parade and in front of the Guards Memorial. The music, in line with the Scottish flavour of today's parade, is the quick march Highland Gathering. Household Cavalry standard as she passes. This is the sovereign standard of the Life Guards. It bears the royal coat of arms and most of the battle honours of the regiment. inspection the mast-mounted bands, which comprises musicians from both the Light Guards and the Blues and Royals band, with the state trumpets.
His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh, whose birthday it was yesterday. It is, of course, the Queen's official birthday today. Our own personal birthday is on the 21st of April. And you can hear in the distance, perhaps, guns in Hyde Park as the King's Troop, Royal Horse Artillery, continue their royal salute. In the window above the central arch, Princess Margaret, Prince Edward, Prince Michael of Kent, Princess Anne, and Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. And so slowly, Her Majesty and her escorting and accompanying officers move towards the saluting base in front of Horse Guards building. When the Queen and her accompanying officers have taken up their position, the troop will begin. As distinct from trooping the colour, the troop is a musical display of counter-marching in slow and quick time by the massed bands of all 5 Guards regiments. There is, first of all, a drum roll preceded by 3 drum beats, and then the slow march is the Huguenots by Meyerbeer.